Today we're in front of Kawai's KDP120, and this is by no means a new instrument to the market. In fact, we've had it around for a couple of years, but the impact that it's had on this entry-level home digital market has been so profound that we thought it made sense to revisit this instrument again. So the first thing that comes to mind is the power and quality of the speaker and amplification system on this instrument. Now, it's a two-speaker system. Both of the speakers are pointed down, but the case is ported in a way that you actually get a fair amount of high-end detail still coming out of the front of the casework. And in terms of wattage, the overall system boasts 40 watts, which is going to put it right at the very top of what the industry offers in this price point. Now, power is one thing, but the fidelity of the speakers is another thing that's really quite remarkable, because as we play through this instrument, we're getting a lot of presence in the lows. The mids are full without being harsh at all, and the highs are giving you exactly what you want, which is detail without being piercing. And at the end of the video, we're actually going to give you a speaker test with overhead microphones very close to where my ears are, so that you at home can get a really good sense of exactly what the speaker experience is like. Now, the second reason I think this instrument really stands out is the quality of the action. The action on this instrument is called the Responsive Hammer Compact 2. This is a slightly shortened key stick that Kawai has produced, and they've been refining it for quite a few years. It was in the KDP110 beforehand, and it features a triple sensor. It's got matte surfaces on both the white and the black keys. It's a graded weight, meaning it's a little bit heavier in the left side of the keyboard than the right side, just like a real acoustic piano. But the most recent iteration of this action has also improved the way in which the key is hinged and cushioned, making this particular action probably the quietest action of any on the entire market in this price segment. And then the third reason I think this still stands out is this is loaded up with an unfiltered stereo sample of the SKEX Shigeru Kawai Concert Grand. And in this category, I happen to think that from a core sample standpoint, the SKEX, as they've loaded into this instrument, instruments such as the CN29, CN201, which is its current model, is probably the most rich, the most complex, and the best recorded of anything that the industry has to offer. In addition to that sample we were just talking about, Kawai also gives you a ton of editability of that sound. Now, being able to edit and customize piano tone has become quite commonplace amongst the major manufacturers once you get into higher price points. But at this particular price level, it isn't necessarily something to be taken for granted. There are 13 editable parameters that allow you to really craft the piano experience and the piano tone just the way you like it. There's also 10 presets that allow you to select combinations of those 13 parameters without having to fiddle with all of them yourself. And you can access that application or that functionality through an app. And you can connect that app to the instrument wirelessly through the use of the built-in Bluetooth MIDI. And then the last thing I'm going to draw people's attention to, which is not something I would normally really care to comment on, is the pedal system on this instrument. Now, it uses a 3-pedal system, which is pretty common, but each one of those pedals is actually weighted slightly differently, meaning the spring that's creating the tension in there have slightly different tensions on them. And that is because it's simulating what you get on a real acoustic grand piano. Anybody who's actually played an acoustic grand piano knows that all 3 of those pedals have different functions, and because they're mechanically actuating different parts of the instrument, they actually have different levels of resistance. From the right to the left, it's the sustain pedal, then the sostenuto, and then the left is the una quarta. And in addition to that, you actually have half pedaling as well. If the only reason why you're looking for a digital piano is to provide a great piano tone and a really good feel experience and something that's easy to operate, and you're going to be using it with both speakers on as well as headphones, at different times, so that speaker performance is important to you, the KDP120 is a pretty unbeatable formula. Now let's hear this instrument. So I really notice in the top end of this instrument that the fidelity of the sound that's coming to my ear and the quality of the sample is just exceptionally high. We've got 196 notes worth of polyphony that this is generating, but I'm not specifically referring to polyphony. I'm talking about just the straight up quality of the audio itself. That's the kind of thing that if you were trying to listen to that sound through, you know, a lossy MP3 file like at 128 kilobit, those top notes, and particularly the tails off those notes, are going to be really quite broken up. So that's nice to hear. Down in the bass, you're hearing a lot of the same types of things or the same effects of having a good clean signal. There's not a lot of breakup or distortion of the signal down here. And then the mid-range is just a nice round tone that's very dynamic, which is really what you want out of the mid-range. You don't want like an abundance of character, but you do want some nice variation from your softs to your louds. Now we're going to unplug the lines and we're going to listen to this instrument through some microphones, and then we'll be wrapping up. So thank you so much for sticking with us so far. Let's get those mics on. So thank you so much everybody for joining us for, again, this fresh look at the Kawai KDP120. If you've enjoyed it, and I hope you have, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. We are always coming out with new piano-focused videos, whether that's reviews or buying tips or everything in between, and we'd love to see you back. My name is Stu Harrison. This has been Merriam Pianos on YouTube, and we'll see you again soon.